Oh! Can you upload your stream intro with the original audio to YouTube channel? Oh. It's probably in an earlier VOD, right?
Example of how Fox simply does not know what to do when it comes to Gavin Newsom. Here you go.
The other thing for me is that for the last week, Gavin Newsom, and why am I giving him advice? You have to stop it with the Twitter thing. I don't know where his wife is. If I were his wife, I would say, "What? You are making a fool of yourself. Stop it. Do not let your."
I feel like we're going over the news every day. I don't know if we need other people's reactions to the news. I feel like we've already seen all this stuff. No. Where's Radiant at?
Tweet, and if you're doing it yourself, put the phone away and start over. And if he's got a big job as governor of California, but if he wants an even bigger job, he has to be a little bit more serious.
So the thing about Gavin Newsom, quote, making a fool of himself is that he is literally imitating Donald Trump. This isn't Newsom just concocting a new persona out of whole cloth. He is literally just doing
so
Trump.
Gavin Newsom.
And the fact that a Fox News host.
Wait, is this? Oh, this isn't on. Hold on.
Has decided to hire 2 young whippersnapper press people who look a lot like the Karine Jean-Pierre press pool, like the people she was using in her press office, who look like these, weird hats and strange haircuts and like the Rainbow Coalition. So he's hired 2 of those folks to write his tweets, and here's an example of where it's going. It's turned in, his entire tweet feed has turned into imitations of what might be a Trump tweet. For example.
Okay, at least she's honest about what they're imitating, yeah.
In all caps. Wow, what an honor. On Mount Rushmore. Thank you, -GCN, with an image of Newsom on Mount Rushmore. Then there's a poster image of Kid Rock pointing like Uncle Sam. It reads.
Okay. This is a no bullies stream, but.
It reads, Kid Rock wants you to support Gavin Newsom. Captioned on X, I accept -GCN. Kid Rock, by the way, replied saying the only support Gavin Newsom will ever get out of me is from these nuts. Here's another one. Scott Pressler, who registered, speaking of Republican registrations, who basically turned Pennsylvania red with his voter registration efforts, or got very, very close. He posted a video about it, and Gavin Newsom's office responded saying, "Thank you, Nancy Mace," calling Scott Pressler Nancy.
Ooh, I'm linking that one. We had 10 years of Trump retardation fatigue. These people couldn't handle Newsom doing it for 2 weeks. True.
Nancy Mace, Scott Pressler has very, very long hair. Nancy Mace doesn't, so I don't know. It doesn't really work for me. And then somebody on Fox responded saying, "You're kidding me, right? You're constantly raving about protecting gay people, and now you use your official press office to troll a gay conservative and call him a woman." In response to which the press office replied, "You sound woke." All right, here's another one. Not even, this is all caps, not even JD Just Dance Vance can save Trump from the disastrous maps war he has started. Not even his eyeliner lines look as pretty as California map lines. He will fail, as he always does. Sad. And I, the peacetime governor, our nation's favorite, will save America once again. Many are now calling me Gavin Christopher Columbus Newsom because of the maps, exclamation point. Thank you for your attention to this matter, GCN. This has led to a split amongst some on whether this is an effective strategy. Joe Scarborough, not a fan. Going to give you a little sampling of that, 27B.
The Democrats are trying to find their footing, and it's quite embarrassing, actually. I mean, Gavin Newsom, have you seen what he's doing online? And it's like, just take a deep breath. Yeah. Don't try to turn the ship 180 degrees, and when they don't know what to do. I have a good idea. Instead of trying to, school Donald Trump, talk into the camera about affordability.
Oh, my God. Yeah, that's what we need. We need another 2 hours of Democrats talking to the camera about affordability and... what is it? Kitchen table issues? Yes, true. That's actually what they care about. That's what the American people care about. That's what they've shown, right? Over and over and over again.
Donald Trump's not on the ballot in 26. He's not on the ballot in 28. So why are you...
Well, I don't have a sound bite for that. Do I? Nope.
I'm going after Donald. No, you're not running against Donald Trump.
Dan, thoughts?
I don't often disagree with Joe Scarborough, but on this I do, because one, I think you will be running against Donald Trump until January 20th, 2029. Whether you like it or not, Trump is the sun that everything orients around. I actually think this is really smart. I think what Newsom is doing is filling a leadership void in the party.
Fuck, the one guy I bullied was the Democrat guy.
Desperately wants somebody to take on Trump. And look, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. If you just look at Gavin Newsom's following on X, Instagram, and TikTok, he is rapidly accumulating followers and retweets. He is filling people's feed. I see, people who are I'll call it super depressed progressives, in my own family, who think Gavin Newsom's the greatest thing ever right now. And so look, what he lacks is substance. At some point, he'll have to put an agenda together. But for right now, he is energizing Democrats. And Mark said this before. When Chuck Schumer wants to say something, he either says it in the well of the United States Senate over 20 minutes in dry, serious tones, or he puts out a press release on X, literally a photograph of a press release. And Democrats yawn and pull their hair out. What Gavin Newsom is doing is lighting a fire. I think it's great. In the long run, it's not enough to obviously win a presidential, but I agree with Mark. He's in the top tier. Now, we disagree a little. I think AOC is in there with him, but it's working for Gavin Newsom in a primary.
You're not the only one who feels that. Here's CNN's Harry Enton, the data guru over there in SOT 27.
I think it absolutely has been working in terms of generating attention, which is what he's trying to do, right?
Are you planning on covering the Peace Corps debate? I had a question regarding the immunity decision. I'm not sure how Ryan could answer for it. I'm thinking about it. But I'll think about it more after we get through all this.
I mean, take a look here. Let's take a look right at the @GovPress office followers on X. That's
Jesus. Oh, this is just followers gains. Never mind, for this account.
of course, where you get those sort of the account where Newsom posts those Trump-style mocking types of tweets. Look at where we were on June 1st. We basically had a clown car for first. Newsom, AOC, Buttigieg, 11%, 10%, 8%. But look at where we are now. Look at this. Look who's jumped up all the way up to 24% chance, about a 1 in 4 chance of getting the nomination. Gavin Newsom, AOC staying pretty steady at 13%.
I still can't believe there's so much talk about 2028. I'm trying to think if in 2020, 2021, were Republicans talking about their nominee as much? I feel like it was around 2022 or 3 when Trump started to like pick up more. I don't know. Maybe I just don't remember. It just seems so hyper fixated right now. I don't even know why the fuck we're talking about this. Do people keep forgetting how far away 3 years is? 4 years? It's an unbelievable amount of time to try to make any prediction market on who the fuck will be the nominee 3 years from now.
And then, of course, we have Pete Buttigieg, who has stayed absolutely steady at 8%. So at least at this particular point, the prediction markets are saying, yes, this strategy is paying off. Of course, the key question is, will this actually work when you're trying to actually, votes are being cast and counted?
Sean, thoughts?
Look, I agree with both of them. It's a pretty pathetic field when Gavin Newsom is considered the only tier 1 candidate. That says a lot about the other folks that you're running against. I mean, so you combine everything, the message, the mechanics, the candidates, the current leadership. They're in a world of hurt right now.
Trump announced he was running like 4 weeks after the election. Yeah, he announced it, but I feel like there was this lull. I feel like there was this time for a couple years where people weren't actually sure if he was running again. And then I feel like it picked up again. Like when DeSantis and Nikki Haley were announced, Trump hadn't quite exploded back on the scene yet. That's what it felt like, but I could be wrong.
Newsom strategy. I mean, look, he gets credit. It's sort of like when you get, I used to call them Circle 60s when I was in high school. It meant you got an F, but we're going to give you a Circle 60, which allowed you to pass the course. And I think he's getting a Circle 60.
We're learning a lot about Sean today.
Yeah.
What does a Circle 60 mean? How would that allow you to pass the course? What does that mean?
You might want to look at those transcripts. But he's getting a Circle 60. And what do I mean by that? I give him, this is the teacher would say to me, okay, you came to class, you tried, you just failed the test. So I'm going to give you credit for showing up and participating. And I give credit to him for participating. He's out there, he's trying to do it. But the fundamental thing that's so interesting in his strategy is
60 is a D. Oh, okay. 69 and below was an F, I guess, for the schools that I went to. Are you against paper ballots? No?
is this. Most Democrats find Trump's tactics abhorrent. So if you find the tactics abhorrent and then your goal is to emulate them, it's sort of like, I think he may get plaudits from a lot of the DC insider beltway pundit class and reporters, but I have a hard time believing that people who are going to go to a caucus in Iowa or Nevada are going to find this enjoyable. Or the people.
But I mean, I think he's mocking it. Like he's not actually embracing it. Like this is my new bit.
I get it, but I just think that if you don't like the behavior in the first place, somebody who's then doing it, I get why he's doing it to troll him, but I think that it's hard to say, oh, what Trump's doing is so wrong, I'm just going to do it back at him.
Except there's one other difference besides the fact that it's meant to be performance art rather than whatever it is the President Trump does. He's only targeting the president. He's not making fun of other people so far.
Well, he made fun of Scott Pressler.
JD
Vance.
Yeah, sorry, to be clear, he's making fun of Republican politicians. He's not going after other entities. And maybe he will, but the mean he's a combatant. He's on the field. He's a combatant. So I'm just saying the Democrats like the fact that it's mockery of people who are Trump and Trump associates.
I think you're splitting hairs there, Halperin. That's who Trump goes after. Trump's not. He's not picking random private citizens to attack. He attacks people who attack him.
How could you say that? Especially when Megyn Kelly was one of the people attacked by Trump. She didn't even do anything that bad to her. She just asked him questions in a debate. Remember that reporter, the one with cerebral palsy or whatever, that brutally and viciously attacked Trump? What a weird thing for her to say. Jesus.
He went after Taylor Swift because Taylor Swift endorsed Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. He wasn't picking citizens to attack. He attacks people who attack him.
He attacks people who attack him.
He went after Taylor Swift because Taylor Swift endorsed Kamala Harris and Tim Walz.
Okay. All right. Cool.
He wasn't picking on her for no reason.
but those aren't political pros. I just telling you what some Democrats, what some Democrats don't like is he's spraying, the whole country, anybody who he wants to attack, rather than political combatants. I'm just saying, to me, that's why some Democrats can justify it.
But Megan, I wouldn't underestimate, of all the candidates we talked about in 2028, who else has drawn fire from Stephen Chung and all these different people in the White House? They're taking the bait. They're elevating Newsom to an equal that we feel like when you speak, we need to go after you. And if you're Newsom now,
Trump does that with everyone.
Well, sure, but you think about it this way.
With everyone? I thought we just said he only does it to the people that attack him or whatever, but maybe she means everyone who attacks him. I mean...
Now, Democrats are going to be asked, with Newsom or Trump? That is the dynamic Trump used in 2023 when he was getting arrested and all this stuff. You with me or you with Nancy Pelosi and, Joe Biden? So it is elevating Newsom. Again, you got to win the primary to get to the general. It's smart. He's separating himself.
Back here to Joe Scarborough in 29B.
You're trying to do everything to distract the American people from the fact that you're screwing up on job one. And job one is helping working Americans and helping the middle class afford their lives and build a life where their children are going to live better than them. That's the American dream. And you have done nothing but play.
What was this interview? Was this yesterday? Jesus Christ.
Politics over the past year. It's really not that hard to do. We'll see. Cut and paste. It's really not hard to do. Gavin Newsom, he wants to own Donald Trump. He wants to be Donald Trump light. You can't be Donald Trump light. Hey, Gavin, talk into the camera and talk about making life more affordable.
Like, what do you think Gavin has been doing for the past several months? I feel like he's been fighting the Trump admin on so much crazy shit. There was the ICE takeover stuff. There was the fighting over like FEMA funds and shit for the wildfires in California. Like,
not only for people in California, but if you want to talk about people in New Hampshire, our people in Iowa, our people in South Carolina.
He's the governor of California.
They would like to know how their lives can be more affordable, not how you can own Donald Trump. Donald Trump is not...
Oh, true. He literally did a debate with fucking DeSantis. That was like a year or more ago, right?
Again.
I don't know. I'm kind of...
I kind of agree with Joe Scarborough. I don't normally agree with him, but I think I kind of agree with him.
I'm kind of against Scarborough and in favor of Gavin Newsom's plan here. I don't want to see Gavin Newsom become president, but he is generating more attention for himself than we've seen from any other candidate. And
okay, just kidding. She might the exact opposite.
Than we've seen for him. And like the same old, like once you get the eyes on you, then you can start talking about what's happening to people in New Hampshire, Sean. But like, you need to get the eyes on you first.
Wait, what? Did her position just completely change? Now I feel like it's a 3-on-1. Now Spicer's getting gangbanged.
Yeah, I will say I've now, in the last 25 minutes, watched more MSNBC than I have in the last 5 years.
I think you mean MS Now.
Oh, my apologies. My apologies. I didn't acknowledge that brilliant branding strategy. The thing that I kind of disagree with is at some point, people, Scarborough's got a point here, which is there's got to be some sort of plan about making life better. And that's where I think that there's a fundamental problem here with all these Democrats. What are they for? They've criticized his crackdown on crime, his crackdown on the border, his crackdown on trade, billions of dollars of new revenue coming into the federal government through tariffs, which most of them previously supported. They've criticized him on gerrymandering, which they led the way on in Illinois, Maryland, Massachusetts,
being too mean to Europeans.
Yeah, which now we've got a NATO that's paying, theoretically, 5% of their GDP, which is not true. But the bottom line is he got NATO to ante up. Mark Rutte, the Secretary General, said on the other night, Trump was right in his criticism and he has achieved results. The bottom line is name something that they're for. Name one thing they're for. And the
abortion?
answer is zero. Oh, yeah, abortion and LGBTQIA.
Mm-hmm. Here's our friend Mark Halperin sitting down with Joe Scarborough and getting into some of these issues on his MK Media show. Next up, SOT 29B now.
What about people thinking of running for president? Should they be a Democrat? Should they be talking about Trump, or should they similarly move on and talk about Republicans?
No. Again, because Trump is so baked into the cake. Again, it's like the Iraq War. You just nobody's going to change their mind about Donald Trump, and we keep thinking this is going to happen. And
wait, I'm so confused what that comparison was.
This is when the walls are closing in on Donald. Some have probably said 87 times. No, the walls aren't going to close in on Donald Trump. And that's not your concern. Your concern is getting elected to Congress. Your concern is winning the House of Representatives. Your concern is taking over the committees. And by doing so, being able to stop a lot of what Republicans are doing.
Didn't everybody kind of change their mind on the Iraq War? Or is that, did I misunderstand his point there? Or is he saying after everybody changed their mind on the Iraq War?
Take it, Mark, but I've got to say the irony, like the gall of Scarborough, of all people to say, you can't change people's minds on Donald Trump. Like he is the living Sybil when it comes to Donald Trump. Nobody kissed Trump's ass more. Nobody, including Hannity in 2016. I know. I was there. And then when he found out he wasn't going to be vice president or be brought along for the ride, he completely turned on Trump, he and his bride Mika, and spent the next 8 years bashing him to hell. And then when Trump wrested power back from everyone in the country, he went and bent the knee and kissed the ring at Mar-a-Lago. So please, okay, sorry, he was your guest, so you're not in the same mind space as yours truly. But it's basically the same point he's making there, no? That like focus on the issues, don't get too wrapped up in the Donald Trump thing. You're not going to move minds or hearts by making your potential race or comeback as a Dem about him.
Well, a few things. Besides Joe being my guest, he's my friend, and I've resolved not to step between the two of you. So I'll pass on pushback on some of those characterizations. But I'll say this: Joe is a big believer in thinking anew about Trump. Maybe not in the exact way you described it, but he's come to appreciate how formidable Trump is as a political force. And I think what his main point is that if you try just to do what Gavin Newsom is doing, without talking to voters about real lives, improving their real lives, you will be caught up in the centrifugal force, and you won't have a path to being president of the United States or leading a coalition into a majority. So you can't ignore Trump, as Dan said. He's gonna be the dominant force in our politics through the election. But I think if you listen to my conversation with Joe, he's advocating not being letting your biorhythms, your daily political biorhythms, be about trying to beat Donald Trump at his own game, because Gavin Newsom's not going to do that, and he's the best equipped of anyone in the party to try to do it.
Or, Dan, the Dems could go with this.
My name is Veronica. Everybody
yeah. We needed to see it again. Look at the signer. Okay, you get it. You get it. You get my point. The signer's trying to sign ooh la. It's so on brand for the Dems. So what are we?
It's so on brand. Where's my laughs? Do you think that they have like this whole database of like, can we find like brown, black people, like Democrat people, whatever, and they just have like a whole database of clips? And it's like, okay, who's going to be our op today? And like roll clip 472 of the guy that the guy playing the whatever. What is this a famous? Did this happen? Was this like a big deal? What the fuck even is this?
But they're actually in their districts, Laura, talking to constituents, doing the job that the Republicans refuse to do, having town halls, listening to their constituents right now. Republicans refuse to do that. Let me tell you what we've done since I've been chair these last 6 months. We've stood up over 150 town halls in all 50 states in Republican districts, doing the job of Republicans for them, actually listening to their constituents, hearing the pain and anguish that Trump and these Republicans have caused in this country, and softening the ground in those districts. We have taken our message to the people. We are using every lever of power we have as Democrats, whether it's here in Washington or in state capitals throughout this country, to fight back. Look at what Gavin Newsom is doing in California. Look what J.B. Pritzker is doing in Illinois. Look what Kathy Hochul's doing in New York City, just on this redistricting. I'm actually proud of our Democratic elected officials and standing up and using the power they have to move public sentiment and to fight back right now. I think it's bullshit when people say the Democrats aren't doing enough. Yes, people are anxious, they're nervous. They should be, because what we're seeing is completely unprecedented. But the idea that people aren't doing enough, I don't know. I've been in 30 states.
What's the disconnect then? Because
if
it's
people aren't feeling it,
we're talking to Democratic voters that say that they think that their party is not doing enough. So what's causing that disconnect if you say that so many Democratic Party leaders are out there?
This is the hardest question to answer, because you can't say, because people feel like whatever the media puts in front of them, because it's insulting the voters. Oh, man.
Pushing back.
Yeah, look, let me be very clear. We've got work to do as a Democratic Party. There's no doubt about it. I've said it from the very beginning. I ran for this job for a reason, which is to get this party back on track, right? And I would say over the last 6 months, there's been a lot of positive momentum. There's been 38 elections on the ballot. All 38 of those elections, by the way, since Donald Trump was inaugurated, all 38 of those, the Democrats have overperformed on average by 11 points. We're leading in the congressional generic ballot, as you know, by about 6 points right now. There is wind at our back. Yes, we need every Democrat. Every single Democrat in elected office, in party leadership, in activist spaces to actually roll up their sleeves and get in this fight. Don't get me wrong, right? But at the end of the day, it's not correct to say that Democrats aren't fighting. I see it every single day.
Democrats should shut the government down if the president continues to use the Justice Department to go after his enemies, or if he keeps National Guard troops in the streets.
Yes, you have a fascist in the White House, and that requires us. We cannot be the only one playing by the rules with the hand tied behind our backs. That old playbook, the norms that used to have guardrails on our democracy and protect all of us in this country, that doesn't exist anymore. We've got to throw that playbook out the window because the Republicans have. We cannot be the only party that's playing by the rules anymore. That's why I said this isn't your grandfather's Democratic Party where you bring a pencil to a knife fight. We are bringing a bazooka to a knife fight. Donald Trump wanted a showdown. The Republicans want a showdown. We're going to give it to them. And guess what? We don't have power in the Congress. That's for sure. But we have the power of our voices. We have the power of our platforms to move public sentiment. And the public sentiment is moving our way. Yes, it's slow. Yes, people still want to see more fight. I'm not going to ignore that. But at the end of the day, I can tell you there are people, including myself. I've been in 30 states over the last 6 months, Laura, and I'm going to continue to travel this country to organize people in every part of this country to stand up to this dictator in chief.
The bottom line is, at the end of the day, Chairman, you know this very well. You got to break some eggs. And that's what the party has to do, to Laura's point. If you're going to get folks focused on the message that you're putting out there, they got to see themselves reflected in that fight.
Support for Governor Gavin Newsom as a possible Democratic presidential candidate in 2028. A surge over the past 4 months. A new poll shows Newsweek reached out to Newsom via email for comment after normal business hours. I'm so curious, how much engagement do these ads actually get? Like, what do you think they pay these websites? How many people click on any of these fucking 50 million random things that pop up on the screen? A poll published by Echelon Insights in April had Newsom only in 6th place with 4%, behind former Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg and Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, a New York Democrat, both with 7%. Harris was again in 1st place with 28%. In the new poll, Buttigieg was 3rd place with 11, AOC in 4th place with 6 points. I'm guessing this was the one just referenced on the... Oh no, this is a different one. There's no world where Kamala would ever run in 2028, right? I don't think that would ever happen. Why? I don't know. I don't know. Do people normally, besides Trump, do people normally run for president twice in a row like that? After losing one time? Bernie? It's like doing multiple primaries is fine, but if you're like the nominee and then you lose in the general, do people normally run again after that? Bro, why are we talking about the next presidential election already? We aren't even at the midterms yet. I don't know. I think it's cringe. I said this a million times. I usually ban people who ask me.
For a little over...
Oh, God. Okay. Just had to spiritually collect myself.
A week now, California Governor Gavin Newsom has been posting in the style of President Donald Trump. And he's getting a lot of admiration for it. So he's basically engaging in this trolling campaign, and he's been very successful with it on X. Many of those posts have actually racked up tens of thousands of likes. And look, it does play well in the paradigm of left versus right. When you
Sorry, hold on. What? Breaking and another stunning embarrassment for Gavin Newsom. The chairman of Bed Bath & Beyond announces they will not open any retail stores in California. We're taking a stand because it's time for common sense. The reasoning: high taxes, high fees, forced, unsustainable wages. They quote tweeted this: after their bankruptcy and closure of every store, like most Americans, we thought Bed Bath & Beyond no longer existed. We wish them well in their efforts to become relevant again as they try to open a second store. Wait. Triggered, lashed out, deleted. Typical of a Newsom nerd. Quote tweet, fuck you, bye. We never posted this fake screenshot, but it is funny, LOL. Holy shit.
you see politics as team sports and nothing more than tribal politics. You want your side to own the other side, troll the other side, to own the libs, to own the right. That's what this feeds into. It has nothing to do with substance. It has nothing to do with how much of a circus California has been under the leadership of Gavin Newsom. It has everything to do with getting brownie points for trolling the other side. So with that in mind, he wrote the following recently. So Governor Newsom press office on X, that's the account that we're talking about, began posting in the same type of tone that you would expect from Donald Trump, all caps. You get the picture. Let's take a look. Again, this is all caps. Donald Trump, if you do not stand down, we will...
This is all caps, guys. It's very important that you know that it is all caps.
...be forced to lead an effort to redraw the maps in California to offset the rigging of maps in red states. So obviously this has to do with the redistricting attempts in Texas, which will probably go through. But if the other states call off their redistricting efforts, we will do the same. Thank you for your attention to this matter with an exclamation mark. Okay, so he's making fun of Trump when he posts in all caps. As you can see, that got 96,000 likes. All right. So
yeah, we need more tweets about Palestine. Newsom, Palestine, please. Why is he talking about the genocide? How can you talk about Bed Bath & Beyond when there's a bloodbath and... I can't make that rhyme. When there's a genocide going on, okay?
Let's go to the next one. In the days since, the account has continued to write in Trump-inspired ways. Final warning, Donald Trump. Maybe the most important warning in history. Stop cheating or California will redraw the maps. And guess who will announce it this week? Gavin Newsom. Many say the most loved... I can't repeat that. Do you want to read it?
Yeah, the most loved.
She was laughing. She was laughing. You know she was laughing. And she had to wipe her face real quick. She's like, fuck.
The maps. And guess who will announce it this week? Gavin Newsom. Many say the most loved. I can't repeat that. Do you want to read?
Wait. Is her staff laughing too? Do we hear laughers in the background? Hold on.
Most loved. I can't repeat that. Do you want to read it?
Yeah. You can hear it. Oh, Jesus.
The most loved and handsome governor and a very powerful team. Don't make us do it. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
Mm-hmm. And then there was another one. This one is kind of funny.
Oh no, it's too much.
It's so random. I hate Kid Rock. Gavin Christopher Newsom, which is GCN. Anyway, so that account is also taking some time to dunk on other conservatives. So on Saturday, Tommy Lahren wrote the following. The saddest thing about this is Gavin and his team of beta males, I mean, 2016 called, they want your, lingo, they want their lingo back, but okay, who sit down to pee, actually think they're trolling the president, actually think this is making Gavin look like a badass. You got to feel for those California boys. I don't know if it's the weed or the gender neutral bathrooms, but something is wrong over there.
Oh, gender neutral, oh, trans, oh,
to which Newsom's press office responded with, Tommy's account is basically Yelp for toilets now. Okay, fine, that is pretty funny.
Okay. So no, I'm definitely in favor of it.
I knew it. I know. But Jay,
no.
If this was happening, if this was coupled with a politician of substance who really is killing it,
what more could you possibly want than trying to redistrict his state for more seats in the House of Representatives? Like, this is like the hardest a governor can do, short of fucking civil war. What else do you want? What do you want?
With his leadership. Okay, I'm totally in favor of it. But what this does is it masks his failures. You know? Mm-hmm. I'm worried about, I just want someone that I can back, someone I can support, someone who actually wants to change things for the better in this country. And Gavin Newsom ain't it. I'm just keeping it real, okay. Democrats. I know you guys want a hero. He's not your hero, trust me. But anyway, go ahead, Jake.
All right, so that's why we're asking on TYT.com, would you support Gavin Newsom for Democratic nominee for president? Yes, I like that he's fighting for us.
I love this audience so much. I love you guys.
B, and no, I think he's a phony. C, no establishment Democrat is a guaranteed loss.
True. We need to go way outside of the box. Oh my God. Okay, even I wouldn't have guessed the Young Turks was... Well, although, holy shit, wait, this is like 15 votes. Never mind, okay. Jesus.
Okay, so that's the one that's winning right now. Okay, guys, look, so here's my nuanced opinion on this. I like what he's doing here. I think it's relatively effective. No, I don't think it's beta. No, I don't think he sits when he...
There's nothing wrong with sitting when you pee. Please don't splash your urine all over.
No, but that's what's so funny about it, because I'm neutral on that issue. I couldn't care less. But like for them, that's like a thing. Like real men spray the whole bathroom, okay? Like not these weak beta males that are like respectful of others. No, I pee all over the bathroom. Okay. All right. Good for you. You seem very manly. Okay. Anyway, can't wait for it to get to women. All right. So look, bottom line is, this is style. And I had two different complaints about Democrats throughout these 20 years, some odd years that we've been doing the show, right? One is style. Like they were like, let's be civil. I speak 6 languages. And you weren't going to win that way, and we were right about that. So now this is the establishment Democrats surrendering and saying, yes, Young Turks was right. It's better to actually fight back, be aggressive, and yes, sometimes be playful, sometimes get in the dirt. Oh, I wouldn't want to spoil your elitist French laundry clothes, right? So now he's realizing, I got to get in the mud a little bit, right? So great, I'm happy to get that. Now the second part's even more important, substance, right?
Yes.
So now that's where I believe that Gavin Newsom is just, as I told you guys after the election, they're going to take all these corporate robots in for a cleanup, right? A refresher. So they're like, okay, now computing. I am now troll Gavin. Ha ha, you are a beta. Ha ha, I will write in caps. Okay, I hear you, brother. But actions speak louder than words.
Your state has the highest unemployment rate in the entire country.
It's like 5.5%. It's also the most prosperous state in the entire country. There's nothing that California can do right. Like, does California have problems? Sure. But like, compared to who? Like, who is their model? Because for conservative, it's It's Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi. Like, are these the states that California needs to be more similar to? Like, what?
Not kidding. California is tied with Nevada for the highest percentage of unemployed Americans. The state is struggling under his leadership. I'm not making it up, and I'm not like, oh, Anna's a secret alt-right winger, and she's actually, nefariously against the Democrats. No, I live in California. I have experienced his terrible leadership. And by the way, the Liberal Patriot, I think it's Liberal Patriot. I should know. Yeah, the Liberal Patriot, who I'm a paid subscriber to, because I actually really appreciate his nuanced takes. He wrote a piece.
Wait, who's the Liberal Patriot? Do I know who this is? Oh, the Liberal Patriot. John Halpin, Substack. Can I not just like go to the thing? Oh wait, X. The progressive movement is over. The shattering of the Democratic coalition. The Democrats' Hispanic voter problem. The Fox News fallacy. The hills the left will die on. The sad tale of moderate Joe Biden. Oh my God. The Fox News fallacy is having a dire effect on many Democrats. This is the idea that if Fox News, substitute here the conservative bête noire of your choice you prefer, criticizes the Democrats for X, then there must be absolutely nothing to X, and the job of Democrats is to assert that loudly and often. Okay, so this is just a conservative guy, I guess? Maybe? I don't know. Okay.
Piece recently that I thought was fantastic. Democrats can do better than Gavin Newsom, and he explains why. Okay, so actually, Michael Baharine is the individual who wrote this piece. Democrats would do well not to allow their anger at Trump to get the better of them, to not simply back a candidate with many of his own vulnerabilities just because he is willing to throw punches at Republicans. A polling tracker from Decision Desk HQ showed his national favorability deeply underwater at the end of the year. Fully 49.2% of Americans viewed him unfavorably against just 27% who viewed him favorably.
I mean, is that so surprising? Like, I feel like if you hear anything about Newsom, it's usually just people attacking him or shitting on him prior to this year, right? This is in the beginning of January? I wonder if they show a more recent one.
And by the way, these people are accurate, okay? It wasn't long ago that he, against just 27, deeply underwater at the end of the, a polling tracker from Decision Desk HQ showed his national favorability deeply underwater at the end of the year. Fully 49.2% of Americans viewed him unfavorably against just 27% who viewed him favorably. And by the way, these people are accurate, okay? It wasn't long ago that he was struggling at home as well, back in June, without Trump serving as a clear foil for him. A poll from UC Irvine put Newsom's approval rating at only 38%. Moreover, okay, 54% of Californians in that survey, including a sizable majority of independents and even a small plurality of Democrats, believe Newsom was more focused on his presidential ambitions than on fixing the state, because it's just demonstrably true that that's been the case. So look, I get it. Like, Democratic voters like desperately want a leader to the opposition to Donald Trump. I totally get that. I get that urge. At the same time, we need to tread carefully, because if there's this effort to uplift a guy who's been a complete and utter failure in the state of California, he is very vulnerable, by the way. He is a target-rich environment. The trolling is fun, but how about opt for someone who has substance, ideas, and can also do the trolling on top of it?
Yeah. So look, let me address this up just a little bit and then get back to Gavin as candidate. So number one, we spent $24 billion on addressing homelessness in California, and homelessness went up 53%. So, I mean, and when you ask him where's the money, he's like, but it's an offensive question. California and homelessness went up. Back to Gavin as candidate. So number one, we spent $24 billion on addressing homelessness in California, and homelessness went up 53%. So, I mean, and when you ask him where's the money, he's like, but it's an offensive question.
Unaccounted for.
No, not offensive. We need to know what you spent the money on, because it obviously didn't work. So we don't want to go back in that direction. We have to have lessons learned. He doesn't believe in accountability. How much money did you take from PG&E, and did it affect your decision not to force them to bury their wires? That is the number one cause of wildfires in California. Yeah. So these are real to force them to have lessons learned. He doesn't believe in accountability. How much money did you take from PG&E, and did it affect your decision not to force them to bury their wires? That is the number one cause of wildfires in California. Yeah. So these are real things, guys. And so we're not picking on Gavin.
Is there, the contention here is that they're saying that he took money from PG&E, which I'm guessing is some utility company, and then allowed them to not bury their wires as a result of taking money from them? Why? Is Gavin hurting for money that much that he wants to condemn his state to wildfire hell just to have a little bit more in his... But okay.
Gavin Newsom randomly, what we have seen throughout his career is he works for the donor class, right? So Gavin 1.0...
What?
Guys, I think it's the donor class.
basically code name French Laundry, right? So that's a fancy restaurant in California where he met with the donors unmasked during COVID while he was doing mask mandates, okay? Okay, the hypocrisy is an important part of that story, but to me the more important part is he'll do anything for donors, right? And so
the donor
class, if you remember, in the beginning was MAGA friendly. Like he was copying people like us, but without any of the substance. So when we went to go talk to, whether it was Charlie Kirk or Patrick McDavid or Tim Pool or eventually Tucker Carlson, Glenn Beck, et cetera, what we did was we tried to find common ground on the left-wing issues.
Exactly.
No, you didn't find common ground on any left-wing issues. You just found common ground on anti-establishment issues. That's why every single time Cenk was in front of an audience, remember with Charlie Kirk, he's like, well, yeah, guys, I agree with you on A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, blah, blah, blah. Don't you guys kind of agree with me like on Z, though? And they're all like, boo! And he's like, oh, fuck.
Right, anti-war, anti-corruption, etc. So we fight on the things we don't agree on, but if you're coming in our direction, as Marjorie Taylor Greene, for example.
Oh, anti-corruption is a left-wing issue. That's right, because the right is pro-corruption? What?
Example did and Tucker Carlson did on the issue of Israel, right? Then great, we're happy. Epstein files, etc. You come in our direction, we're very happy, right? But Gavin, since he was just like computing, he's like, Steve Bannon, let us have a friendly dialogue. I will not challenge you on anything. But brother, no, you're not getting it. So then they took him back to the shop. Now we have Gavin 3.0, which is Trump fighter. I'll troll him right back. But don't you see the transition one after another? So who's the real Gavin Newsom? So guys, keep your eye on the prize. Who passed bills? So why were we so excited about Tim Walz? I don't think he got a fair hearing in this presidential run, and I don't know if he's the right guy going forward. But the reason I was excited and why I'd consider him again is because he passed a lot of good bills in Minnesota that helped the average citizen in Minnesota. That matters. Yeah. That's what's important. When you ask Gavin Newsom, I don't know where the money went. I don't know why we have a bad record. I don't know why there's so many wildfires.
That's my donor class right there.
For many of
That's
my
what's going on.
So like I like this stuff. Last thing on this. They're like, we got to vote for Gavin Newsom because he's the only Democrat fighting back. I'm like, wait, why aren't other Democrats fighting back? Why is the party so pathetic?
Dude, nothing is good enough for these people. Like there's not, you understand, right? There's literally nothing you can do.
They found one guy and someone decided to fight the other side as if that's like some sort of big revelation. Should you all be fighting the other side? And by the way, of course there are others. Ro Khanna fights them way more effectively.
Oh, Ro Khanna and Bernie Sanders and maybe AOC, although we might not like her anymore.
He doesn't get a quarter of the credit, and that's because mainstream media loves corporate candidates like Gavin Newsom. Every
That's
time you
my
ring the bell,
donor class right
mainstream
there.
media.
Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows. The donor class.
Okay, good for you.
I think it's important to set the record straight.
Also happens with Marie Endon, who joins us now. This is a lot, the AI images, but you know what? It reminds me, it also happened as well. The key question, has this actually been working for Newsom?
Yeah, I think it absolutely has been working in terms of generating attention, which is what he's trying to do, right? I mean, take a look here. Let's take a look right at the @GovPress office followers on X. That's, of course, where you get those sort of, the account where Newsom posts those Trump-style mocking types of tweets. Get this, that account, get this, up 450% in terms of the number of followers since mid-June, and it's not.
Okay, we saw this basically. Here's an article about the power lines. Don't know why he said PG&E. Well, I think in general, I noticed this when I was going through in Queens. Are none of the power lines buried? I think in general, it's better for a whole bunch of reasons to bury power lines. It looks better. It looks nice. And then I think there's less of a risk of the wires being fucked with by birds or animals or like coming down during storms. It's safer. It's all around like a better thing to do. However, I think that the initial cost of burying the lines and then the cost of like servicing them, all of that is dramatically higher. And then especially when you're talking long distances, because every fucking time you even look at a piece of dirt with a shovel, you have to talk to like 15 different county, district, city officials, commissioners, and everything else to make sure that you're like in the clear. And then you gotta go flag everything out. I mean, there's just so much autistic shit when it comes to touching the ground, okay, for anything. Like the most unrealistic part of like the Matrix movies is there's no way they would have gotten approval from whatever human being was left to bury that much shit under the dirt. So my guess is like it would be better to do it, but it would be absurdly expensive. That'd be my guess. Each lawsuit, lawsuits blame SCE's equipment for triggering a deadly blaze that cut a mammoth swath of damage during the unincorporated community of Altadena, as well as the two neighboring cities. Wait, underground power line comparison. Aerial cables that carry high voltage electricity and are supported by large pylons are generally considered an unattractive feature of the countryside. Underground cables can transmit power across densely populated areas or areas where land is costly, environmentally sensitive, or aesthetically sensitive. Underground and underwater crossings may be a practical alternative to crossing rivers. Okay, advantages. Less subject to damage from severe weather conditions, decreased risk of fire, reduced range of electromagnetic fields. Underground cables need a narrower surrounding strip of about 1 to 10 meters to install. Underground cables pose no hazard to low-flying aircraft or to wildlife. Underground cables have a much reduced risk of damage caused by human activity such as theft, illegal connections, sabotage, and damage from accidents. And then bearing utility lines makes rooms for more large trees on sidewalks. Oh my God! Undergrounding is more expensive. Whereas finding and repairing overhead wire breaks can be accomplished in hours. Underground repairs can take days or weeks. Underground cable locations are not always obvious. Operations are more difficult since underground cables' high reactive power produces large charging currents. Underground cables cannot be upgraded and must be supplemented or replaced to increase capacity. Subject to damage by ground movement. The 2011 Christchurch earthquake. Damn, God hates this place. It's underground repair. Okay, so I feel like most of this is related to cost, basically.
Okay, so you do a couple of things well. You work together well, and you're more welcoming, if I'm being honest.
We're glad Cenk's here, right, everybody?
And a lot of people on the left know this as well. If you agree with MAGA 5%, the answer you get is welcome, right? Come join us, right? On the left, if you disagree 5%, they go, get out of here, you're a right-winger, you're a fascist, right? But if you push enough people out and you guys welcome enough people in, eventually you win the popular vote. That's what I warned them about, and that's what happened, right? So, look, I propose simple rules. The 3 rules of the internet. Rule number 1, when we disagree, we fight. There's nothing wrong with that, right? No, rule number 2 is, afterwards, we must have a beer together, okay? And rule number 3 is, for God's sake, when we agree, let's unite. So, for the left, we have too much division. We almost never unify. I don't mean with the right. I mean internally. The left loves to attack one another. I love you guys on the left. I love you. But every once in a while, when we get a yes, when we agree, can we please unite? And the second thing we need is for the old, I'm being honest, and on average, not everyone, of course, but for the older Democratic voters, please turn off your television sets. They're lying to you. They're tricking.
Feel about this, but there is not a consensus. There is a belief with some people, like Seth Moulton and others, that some of the embrace of what we would call wokeism or whatever was a reason why Democrats had a less than.
And I explained yesterday, actually, on the Young Turks, but it is definitely popular. We called extreme left in America. So
when is there was one part in here where he tried to get the audience to agree with him on one thing. He got shut down fucking immediately.
I'm massively in favor of gun control. You told them not to boo, but I knew they'd boo on that one.
They paused to their.
Wait,
I'm
is it
not
this?
sure it's left or right wing, but it is definitely populist, right? But some of my policies might be called extreme left in America. So, for example, I'm massively in
It's
favor
close
of
to
gun
this.
control.
It might come up after this.
You told them not to boo, but I knew they'd boo on that one.
They paused to their respect. You were asking for it, Cenk.
Yeah, I did ask for it. So, my point to my left wing allies is, no. Because I know those are not winning issues at this point. I've got more work to do to convince the American people before we get there. So if I'm on trans issues or any other, or crime issues, etc., if you really believe in the most far left positions, as I do on gun control, for example, that's okay. But you've got to know what to emphasize and what not to emphasize. And so if you say, no, I'm going to die on every extreme hill, well, you will. Electorally, politically, you will die on that hill. And then you lose on all of your issues, because it's sometimes a binary game. Certainly elections are. So you got to know what to convince the American people of and what to hold your ground on. And the number one thing to hold your ground on is constitutional rights. So I'm going to do some...
Like the Second Amendment.
So, no, I know. So guys, look at that. We totally disagree on that issue, but we just...
You were asking for that one.
No problem. No, but look, that was an important moment, because we totally disagree on that issue, but we just shook hands anyway. And you know what we'll do afterwards? We'll have a beer! So, you know what it is when you disagree on something and then you fight about it and then you have a beer afterwards? That's called America.
Wow, America.
So let me see if I can get agreement. And I don't know which way this is going to go. Okay. So when we talk about trans issues in terms of sports, I know we have massive disagreements. Okay. And on one of those issues, professional sports, I agree with you guys. On high school sports, I don't. We'll go get into a bloody battle on that. Okay. But I want to ask you guys something. Do you believe that trans Americans should have the same constitutional rights as all Americans to employment, health care, and housing? Constitutional rights.
You want me to translate? Well, there is no constitutional right to housing.
Okay, so I hear you. What I got out of that, guys.
I'm just trying to be the interpreter.
Yeah. No, there was a lot of applause and there was some consternation, right? I'll take it. It's a start.
Good one.
Gavin Newsom thinks he's clever by having his staffers do his dirty work, crank out knockoff Trump-style all-caps rants and memes. They claim conservatives don't get the joke, but we do. We just think you look like a tool.
Okay. Ooh, pollster sees big support for California redistricting. Gavin Newsom has a 22-point advantage in support among the state's voters. Oh, shit. I thought people were saying this wasn't popular. Maybe it's changed, or... And it's going to be for a ballot referendum. Are the propositions in California, do they just need a simple majority to pass? How much support do propositions in California need to pass? Is it just a simple majority? Most of them. Okay. Damn. A 22-point advantage. So what is that, 61-49 or whatever? 39? Consequence of 20... Looks like again. That's pretty crazy. Depends on how the questions were asked too. "57% of California voters backed the redistricting measure, while 35% opposed and 8% were undecided. Voter support appears to have increased as they learned more about the measure, Binder said. A July survey has found that 51% favored Newsom's redistricting push. Democrats are almost fully united in their support, with 84% in support and 13% opposed. Republicans are 79% opposed. Damn. Why? Why? What is that supposed to mean? That's the parody account? Oh. I still don't get the joke. Oh, is it a joke that he's not working because he's trolling all the time or something? Okay.
Oh, it's actually happening. Wait, wait, what? Oh, shit.
We have former national security advisor for President Trump.
Why would I ever subject myself to this? Hassan Slop. Wait, after this. Do not skip, do not skip.
70,000 monks just broke their vows of silence to nominate Trump for the Nobel.
That's the donor class.
I bet these guys have a ton of money.
Dear Mr. President Trump,
we are standing here today with hearts full of appreciation. Today, 70,000 Cambodian Buddhist monks are wholeheartedly supportive of our Cambodian Prime Minister Hun Manet to nominate you for the Nobel Peace Prize. Please accept, Mr. President.
70,000 monks, all bought on Fiverr. How much do you think this cost? I'm just kidding. I yanked that from chat.
70,000 monks can't be wrong. After Trump brokered a peace deal between Cambodia and Thailand, the monks went ultra MAGA and shaved their heads like Stephen Miller. So 47's thinking about sending them all 70,000 of them Trump 2028 hats, duty and tariff-free. Zelensky and Macron went home yesterday with hats that said 4 more years. Just like when you visit a museum, Trump brought them to the gift shop right before they hit the door. Putin wanted a hat too, but instead Melania gave him a letter that said, stop killing kids. And Trump buzzed them with B-2s.
Alaska was a show of force by President Trump. He invited President Putin to land that the Russians used to own. He displayed a huge amount of military hardware and then did a flyover. It was kind of like inviting your uncontrollable neighbor to your house and showing him your gun case.
Why? When over and over and over again, you guys cry and bitch and moan and complain that you literally can't do anything to Russia because World War III, World War III. Do you think Putin's threatened? Like, what's the implication that you're actually going to fucking do anything ever in your entire fucking life to this guy? Like, no one is scared.
Trump's giving everybody options, the easy way or the hard way. This time, Zelensky picked the easy way. He wore a suit, said his thank yous, and brought Trump a big, beautiful gift, a putter, from a Ukrainian soldier who lost his legs in a war and then picked up golf. Engraved on the head, let's putt peace together.
Konstantin, first of all, I just watched your swing. I know a lot about golf, and your swing is great. It looks beautiful, and you're going to be a very good golfer very soon. But I also want to thank you for this putter. It's beautiful, and it's made with real love, and it's given to me with real love from you, and I appreciate that. Every time I sink a putt, I'll be thinking about you.
Maybe the president will bring his new putter to Doral, where the PGA just announced Trump's club will host a tour event. The Europeans already calling it Daddy Shack. Yesterday, they were on their best behavior. Trump kept calling France's president by his first name, Emmanuel, and Macron responded with a Mr. President. He was, quote, like a schoolboy speaking to his teacher. That's how President Trump likes his allies to behave. And although the leaders were still meeting as this column went to press, he appears to have whipped them into shape. The Europeans were sitting around the Resolute desk yesterday like they were waiting for class to start. Trump was giving Europe a geography lesson. He even put up the big, beautiful map and sent it home with Zelensky as homework.
I fucking hate this guy.
If Zelensky can read a map like Trump can read a putt, we'll have a deal in no time. The last president to save Europe from Russian aggression was Reagan, and his portrait was staring them down in the Oval. Compare that to Trump's first term, when Europe and Merkel were trying to look down on him and tell him he was wrong. Now Europe realizes he was right about everything, and they're the ones doing the listening.
Hey, boo!
Even Obama's guys are admitting 47's in control.
Whoever had the idea
wait, that's a Korean thing, sorry.
Bring all these European leaders together, in addition to President Zelensky, that was a brilliant, brilliant idea.
Donald Trump didn't make Europe feel too comfortable. When it was time to get down to business and call Putin, he kicked them out of the room.
I didn't do it in front of them. I thought that would be disrespectful to President Putin. I wouldn't do that because they have not had the warmest relations. And actually, President Putin wouldn't talk to the people from Europe. I mean, that was part of the problem.
CNN is now whining that Zelensky had to wait in the hallway.
The fact that he feels he's got to check in with Putin right away still feels like Trump needs Putin's approval in a way that's got to be very disturbing to Zelensky sitting there.
This isn't CNN's first rodeo. They should know the first time Putin and Zelensky talk should be face-to-face, not on speakerphone. And what? Trump's not supposed to call Vlad to set up the next round of talks? Who else is he going to call? Obama talked to Putin. Hillary talked to Putin. Biden even talked to Putin. How are you supposed to end the war if you don't talk to the guy who started it? CNN tried to get the Finns to leak another perfect phone call.
Do you know what Putin...
Another perfect phone call. How many perfect phone calls can one man have?
What Trump, said to Putin on the phone? I mean, what were the specifics that he put out there?
Obviously, in diplomacy, what happens in the Oval Office stays in the Oval Office when the media is not in there. I've been involved in peace mediation before, and I think that President Trump is genuinely trying to bring this war to an end.
Trump says, if you're curious, I'll tell you.
We had a very good call, and I told him that we're going to set up a meeting with President Zelensky, and you and he will meet, and then after that meeting, if everything works out, okay, I'll meet and we'll wrap it up. But, it takes, in this case, two to tango. They have to have somewhat of a relationship. Otherwise, we're just wasting a lot of time. I don't want to be doing that I just want to end it.
The White House says Putin's agreed to meet Zelensky one-on-one. Could happen within the next few weeks. And they're shopping around for a site.
Weeks.
Budapest is now the front runner. But Switzerland making a last-second play, promising not to arrest the Russian leader on war crimes. How diplomatic. But Obama's right-hand woman, Susan Rice, says Trump doesn't understand the art of the deal.
Russia interfered in the 2016 election by disinformation campaigns. And rather than put the sort of pressure on Putin and Russia, he is rolling out the red carpet, doing military flyovers, giving him a ride in the presidential limousine.
Rice thought buzzing Putin with B-2s was an honor. It was a flex. And why not get to know each other in the beast? 41 flew VAD on Marine One, took him to Kennebunkport to meet with his son. They rode up in...
The beast. Why not give him a buzz to flex? God, I hate this guy so much. The beast is what they call I think the president's motorcade thing or whatever.
Down the Maine coast on the family's Fidelity 3. Could you imagine if Trump took Putin to Bedminster and played a round of golf? Picking up...
Wasn't the reason why Bush traveled anywhere with Putin was because there was this attempt to do like a big reset after the war on terror. We were collaborating, or after 9/11, we were collaborating more with Russia and everything for intelligence in the Middle East and in Europe. And I think there was an attempt to have like a big Russian reset for relations, but that's why he was talking to him, not to come and suck him off relating to some war that he was doing. Right?
Up the phone isn't even close to that. Rice's commander-in-chief wrote love letters to the Ayatollah. Did that stop the Iranians from nuking up? No. Hillary gave the Russians a reset button. Did that stop the Russians from invading Ukraine? No. The Democrats can sit this one out. Trump's just fixing the left's mess.
From the beginning of this entire process, much of the left-wing media has been actively rooting against the President of the United States in the pursuit of peace. All weekend following those historic U.S.-Russia bilateral talks, we listened to clueless pundits on television trying but failing to claim that the President had failed. The so-called experts in the foreign policy establishment, whose record is nothing but endless wars, trillions of wasted taxpayer dollars, and dead Americans, have the nerve to try and lecture President Trump, who has solved 7 global conflicts in 7 months.
Trump stopping wars that started on Democrats' watch. Even the monks get it. Even Democrats like Stephen A. get it.
It was Biden in office when a full-fledged war against Ukraine took place. It was Russia that invaded Crimea, and that was under the Obama administration.
Wow.
It was Clinton in office when you made a deal that disarmed the Ukraine and therefore weakened them, leaving them dependent on the United States. What I'm saying is promises made are supposed to be promises kept.
What was Joe Biden's plan to win the war in Ukraine? He didn't have one. What was Biden's plan to end the war in Ukraine? He didn't have one. If Kamala won, did she have a strategy? Of course not. The Europeans just don't want to be next on Putin's menu. And that makes sense. But now that Trump made Europe foot the bill for the war, they're like, all right, let's call it a day. And after their meeting yesterday, they told Trump at the table, great talk. We'll see you in a month or two.
They said a month or two? You can have another 40,000 people dead in a month or two. You have to do it tonight.
The Obama-Biden doctrine of strategic patience, a.k.a. don't change anything, just got doged. Trump doesn't have time for shenanigans. And if you look at the body count, neither does Ukraine. You can
just got doged? What level of propaganda do you need to be on to even use that as a positive reference? Oh my God.
see why the president has the wind at his back. Trump's approval rating's been surging. Insider Advantage has him up 8 points since July. But Trump's not making peace for politics or for the Nobel Peace Prize, maybe just a little. He's doing it because he wants to walk through the pearly gates.
I want to try and get to heaven if possible. I'm hearing I'm not doing well. I'm really at the bottom of the totem pole. But if I can get to heaven, this will be one of the reasons.
When Trump got shot in the head in Butler, it changed him.
Why do they say shot in the head? Why do they say shot in the head? It was his ear. It was his ear, maybe. Shot in the head. Why do they keep saying shot in the head? How many people say this in common parlance? Like, oh God, my head hurts so much. Oh, really, honey? Where? Like right here? Your head hurts? Yes, my head, right here. That's your ear, you dumb motherfucker. Yeah, it's my head.
Believes God saved his life to keep him on earth, to put America first and stop the killing. And deep down,
do you have some tissues? I need to blow my head. What? Like, what the fuck?
Trump knows he's been a little bit of a bad boy. So ending the Ukraine war is going to go a long way with the big guy upstairs. Good acts like ending wars don't automatically get you into heaven. As my good friend Harold Ford Jr. says, you also have to love your neighbor as you love yourself and love your Lord with all of your heart. So Trump is this close. I'm sure he's in. And we all know God loves song, and so does the president. In between brokering bilaterals, he's testing out the speaker system on the brand new White House patio.
One even more.
Why? This is so, like, this isn't even gaudy. It's just, it looks cheap. It looks like you bought you got like a 3-for-1 on like $100 set of outdoor bullshit from fucking Kmart for your patio. What was the point of this?
Want even more Fox News on YouTube? Become a Fox News Patriot today. Click join to find out how.
Okay. Remember, as upset
Abby
as
Phillip has this.
Shut up. As upset as my make you, okay? People consume this shit 24/7 and worse. Okay, Fox News is the best. Fox News is literally the best of the right-wing media, and I'm not saying that facetiously. It's so much worse than this. Ursula von der Leyen. the distinguished and highly respected President of the European Commission, and I have been discussing the massive worldwide problem of missing children. This is likewise a big subject with my wife, Melania. It is a subject at the top of our list, and the world will work together to solve it, hopefully bring them home to their families. What a pussy. Is that what Melania was asking you about, was the worldwide issue of missing children? Is that what the President of the European Commission was talking about, was the worldwide children phenomenon? Or did it have to do with the missing children from Ukraine?
Media has been actively rooting against the President of the United States in the pursuit of peace. Initially, the media ridiculously claimed that President Trump was somehow beholden to Russia for even agreeing to have a face-to-face discussion with President Putin inside of the United States. The media said President Trump was making a grave mistake by, quote, legitimizing Putin. They were aghast that President Trump would treat another world leader like a world leader. The media relentlessly attacked President Trump and claimed he suffered a, quote, major defeat for not immediately emerging with a final agreement, even though he said heading into that meeting, this was a meeting to listen and to understand how to move the ball forward. All weekend following those historic U.S.-Russia bilateral talks, we listened to clueless pundits on television trying but failing to claim that the president had failed. The so-called experts in the foreign policy establishment, whose record is nothing but endless wars, trillions of wasted taxpayer dollars, and dead Americans, have the nerve to try and lecture President Trump, who has solved 7 global conflicts in 7 months, about peace. This is the same president, by the way, who brokered the Abraham Accords in his first term, on top of more than half a dozen other peace deals this year alone, as I just said. We also saw yesterday the president of Ukraine and all of the other major leaders of Europe fly across the Atlantic Ocean to meet President Trump at the White House because of the progress that was made, and that, if you ask the media, failed meeting, but it was not. It was highly productive and it was successful.
What was the progress?
This is why Americans' trust in the mass media is at a lowest point in more than 5 decades. Diplomacy is a delicate process, and instead of reporting the facts about what is happening here at this White House and what is happening between this president and other leaders around the world, many outlets in this room continue to try to actively undermine the president and sabotage the efforts towards peace. That is why I felt the need to set the record straight.
If the point is to get everybody on the same page, why wouldn't Trump just take the call from Putin while the other leaders were in the room? He said it would be disrespectful to do that. But why is it disrespectful?
With all due respect, only a reporter from the New York Times would ask a question like that, Sean. The president met with all of these European leaders at the White House 48 hours after sitting down with President Putin on American soil. In fact, there was so much progress in the readout that was given to these European leaders immediately following his meeting with President Putin that every single one of them got on a plane 48 hours later and flew to the United States of America. And if I could just read for all of you.
Hey, if the point is to get everybody on the same page, why wouldn't Trump just take the...
So wait, what was the answer to that? Okay.
Do you think that we might not need the trilateral and that Zelensky and Putin might come to this conclusion on their own? And then as a follow-up, I know the president said on Fox News this morning that he's partially seeking peace in order to get to heaven. Was he joking, or is there spiritual motivation behind his peace deals here?
I think the president was serious. I think the president wants to get to heaven, as I hope we all do in this room as well.
As in, like, everybody wants to die?
As I said, I'm optimistic.
Was Putin up waiting for the call? Did you get the sense?
Well, the president gave him the option. I could call you, send a message, and Putin said, well, I'll be up for 15 more minutes, or you could call tomorrow. And I think Putin wanted the call that night. So that shows he was eager to hear what the president had to say.
The way that the media...
I'm going to assume he was saluting to somebody, okay? But, like, I'm just saying, if this was Biden, they would have accused him of saluting at Putin.
Call tomorrow. And I think Putin wanted the call that night. So that shows he was eager to hear.
Well, maybe he's about to karate chop Putin. Maybe he's like, you think you can take me?
As I said, I'm optimistic.
He's stimming based.
On a nation that is 10 times your size. Congressman, what should Ukraine have done when Russia rolled tanks over the border and invaded and was rushing toward Kyiv?
Once the tanks are rolling, diplomacy failed. And what they should have done is going back to 2013, 2014, is they should have been clear that they want to maintain a friendly
He got stuck in the emote wheel.
relationship with Russia, that they're not posing a threat to Russia, and they would never let Europeans or Americans pose a threat to Russia. Russia feels threatened by a lot of things, and including the internal domestic opponent, that they're not posing a clear is going back to 2013, 2014, is they should have been clear that they want to maintain a friendly relationship with Russia, that they're not posing a threat to Russia, and they would.
I'm sorry, in 2013, 2014, was Ukraine threatening Russia? The whole country was like eating itself up, or tearing itself apart. Would
never let Europeans or Americans pose a threat to Russia. Russia feels threatened by a lot of things, and including the internal domestic affairs of Ukraine. So,
what, like, imagine trying to appease somebody. Like, this guy's talking about Russia like a paranoid schizophrenic. Russia's very scared by other countries, by other countries' domestic politics. Like, if you say the wrong thing, it might just fucking invade you. Like,
eastern Ukraine, the Donbass, east of the Dnieper River, heavily Russian speaking. They want to maintain Russian culture. And a friend of mine from there said, hey, it's a lot like maybe for an American, if you think of Quebec, they want to speak French. They want this French culture and heritage recognized. They're content to be part of Canada. But until you come in and say, well, you can't speak French anymore, and we're not going to recognize that, and we're going to.
Well, first of all, what a dog shit example, because Quebec is a province in Canada. So what a fucking stupid example. Number two, this would be more akin to like France, like sending troops to Quebec to help it fight against Canada. Also, what a stupid example, because like every motherfucker in all of Canada learns how to fucking speak French just for Quebec. And it's not, French is not even remotely related to English in the same way that I'm pretty sure there's a much higher crossover between Ukrainian and Russia. Who the fuck is this guy? Warren Davidson. What state is this dipshit from? From Ohio. Fucking Ohio, dude.
Purge every reference to what you view as your culture. That's the kinds of things that were going on in the internal affairs of Ukraine that Russia continued to try to address with Ukraine. That's not an excuse for the invasion or war, but you know, there was no diplomacy that was de-escalatory. In fact, everything was escalatory. And so I think, look, if you go back to you know, maybe some days in a imagine a bar, everybody might get a little loud and mouthy until like the defensive end guy stands up and he's, you know, 6'5", about 280, and clearly really fit. And every time I've seen that happen, somebody gets really diplomatic really quick. And I think that's what President Trump's talking about. You didn't give enough weight to diplomacy.
Yeah, well, I mean, the other way of looking
what was
Trump's
that noise? Talking about. You didn't give enough weight to diplomacy.
Wait, can you guys hear that? Wait, what the fuck is that? Wait.
Yeah, well, I mean, the other way of looking at it is sometimes
about you didn't give enough weight to diplomacy.
Yeah, well,
that's what President Trump's talking about. You didn't give enough weight to diplomacy.
Oh my God. This guy, he's turning into a demon right in front of us.
Yeah, well, I mean, the other way of looking at it is sometimes you do have to stand up to bullies. And you talk about the lessons of World War I. There are a lot of people
you
who
sure do. And if you want to play Ukraine, I think that'd be great. You can go ahead.
I'm not saying that. I'm just talking about the other side of what you're
Does this guy bleach his hair, do you think?
saying, and you're talking about the lessons of World War I. There are people who talk about the lessons of World War II and Munich and concessions right there. But it does sound like you're putting some responsibility on Ukraine for this conflict. Quickly, sir.
Oh, maybe it's a warm, strong overhead light, and his hair is gray, but it just looks yellow. Maybe the sides look color. I don't know. Did I talk about this on stream? This tweet? That's the exact opposite of the truth. Muslims and Jews got along really well in the Middle East, especially compared to Europe. Until 1948. What? That's when Israelis attacked their neighbors, took their land, and started a mission to kill and evict millions of Arabs for Greater Israel. Well, okay. Just, this is not true at all. There was massive infighting in the Mandatory Palestine state or whatever prior to the 47-48 wars, but okay. Based. Not to mention the massacres and the back and forth bullshit and everything, but it's kind of fucking insane to say. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Israel-Palestine has hit the open source community, apparently. Hi, the Code of Conduct says that the leaders pledge to make participation in our community a harassment-free experience for everyone, regardless of religion and ethnicity. Zed just announced... Uh-oh. What? That they are taking money from Sequoia Capital, which has a partner, Sean McGuire, who has recently been publicly and unapologetically Islamophobic. What do you think that means? That he said something like, I don't think every single Jew should die. It seems hard to believe that the team didn't know about this, as it was covered in the New York Times. Tech's top venture firm tried to stay above politics, then a partner created a furor. One partner's post about Zohran Mamdani set off a chain reaction. Uh-oh. What did he say? He had posted on X on July 4th that Zohran Mamdani, the progressive Democrat running for New York City mayor, came from a culture that lies about everything and was lying to advance his Islamist agenda. Oof. Oh. Wait. I feel like the actual tweet is a lot worse than the quote that they put in the New York Times about this. What the fuck? Mamdani comes from a culture that lies about everything. It's literally a virtue to lie if it advances his Islamist agenda. The West will learn this lesson the hard way. Wait, what the fuck? Why would you... What is... What am I supposed to take from this? That's the college application scandal thing. Yeah, but why would you link it to this? Oh, as proof that he lies? I thought the Islamic lie thing is, I forget what it's called, but it's supposed to be like if you tell a lie to further Islam or whatever it can theoretically be. It's not tacky or whatever. I'm making that word up. Oh, taqiyya? Is that what it is? I don't know if there's any evidence that Mamdani is an Islamist. But okay. This guy seems retarded. Holy aggressive digital filtering. Why do you even need to create the fake depth of field? Like we couldn't figure out what was going on in your camera until until you digitally raped your background? Oh, like thank God now there's some separation between the subject and the background. Thank God. We would have been so confused otherwise, and it's definitely not as distracting as all this new artifact bullshit that you created around yourself.
Time from the New York Times. It's really hard to understand how bad the media is until they write about you, or at least until they write about topics that you know very deeply or worked on.
Although that's just what people do on webcams and remote work. It's just background blur. Well, yeah, I know, but it's just cringe. This has become, it just looks like shit. It's like how all TVs today automatically interpolate 60 FPS or whatever. In addition, McGuire has been actively pro-occupation and genocide in Palestine for nearly 2 years. Genocide.vc. What is the VC TLD? I've never heard this before. I know that, like, Trump actually, you know what? You know what? These guys are cringe as fuck, but actually I fucking support any boycott. I don't know why business leaders thought it became acceptable to hardcore talk about politics, especially tech bros. No offense, you guys are fucking retarded. Shut the fuck up and go put some more fucking transistors on your little PCBs and be a little tech fucking loser. Like, you guys are too retarded to literally talk about it. You can't even talk about half the shit in your field. You guys are actually fucking retarded. I hope this guy gets nuked. Why are you tweeting all this shit? I don't understand how you would do this if you, assuming a partner position at Sequoia gives you some amount of control or whatever over the company. Like, well, I don't know why the fuck you would feel so comfortable being so outwardly talking about your political opinions on this shit. It's fucking retarded. How can anyone feel like the code of conduct means anything at all when Sequoia is an investor? This is super retarded, though. Oh my God. VC is St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Gotcha. I'm shocked and surprised at the Zed team for this. I expected much better. Which Sequoia partner invested? Do they have a board seat? So does anyone feel good about using Zed after this? What is Zed? We've been building the world's fastest IDE. Oh my God, bro. Who cares? You change the color of the text sometimes. And you've got some tabs. Who needs this much money for this? What the fuck? Oh my God. Stop.
Chinatown, New York. It's one of the busiest hubs of counterfeit goods in the world, where an underground network of Chinese bootleggers operates in the shadows, costing the U.S. an estimated $300 million each year. How does this network of smugglers manage to evade law enforcement? The Special Investigative Undercover Response Team was about to find out. If I was going to infiltrate the counterfeiters, I had to become one of them. With the help of the Special Investigative Undercover Response Team, I disguised myself as an average Chinese person.
Ah, most excellent.
And rigged my glasses with a hidden camera to catch all the action.
My name is Hong. Me new in town.
Christ.
Please to direct me to black market smugglers. This a pot bag of shimmerek, most precious jade. You would honor me by telling me where you got it. It is a counterfeit, no?
I don't know. Go away, go away. It was clear I'd have to look elsewhere for answers.
The revered elder. Please to direct me to counterfeit goods store. It is hard to find in the Forbidden City. You know, Forbidden City.
I was being stonewalled. But why? I spoke with sociologist David Kim about my difficulty infiltrating the Chinese counterfeit underbelly.
Of course no one's gonna talk to you. What you're doing is extremely offensive.
Ah, I see. You were the most helpful.
The sociologist helped me see that dressing like just another average Chinese citizen wasn't going to get me anywhere. In order to get answers, I knew I had to take a new tactic. appealing to man's most carnal desires.
Hey boy, you like what you see? You like?
Oh, not again. Get
Oh,
away.
me? You don't know me. My name's Cherry Pie.
No, you're not. Get out of
You
here.
want sucky?
Oh, I'm calling you the
Want
police.
sucky?
I was arrested for prostitution. For the Onion News Network, I'm Gavin Fisher.
Why?
Bird. Jordan. Cole. What happened? Oh my God!
Why? Okay. Stop.
Unprecedented resources in reforming our behavioral health system. Ron has literally the worst mental health system in America, forgive me, outside of Mississippi and Texas. We've
Newsom's just standing his voice, saying Mississippi is beautiful. It's the work only of a masterful Californian coastal elite. In a heartbeat, he'd send Sherman back to the South. Florida's mental health system is even worse than Texas. It is. May Allah forgive me for uttering this word. Oh, in Texas, then it is worse than Mississippi. Jesus. LA City Council just voted to oppose the biggest pro-housing bill of the past 5 years, SB 79, in a shocking display of NIMBYism. Some voters I expected, but I can't believe progressive Yasabi. What the fuck are these real names? Sabel Urado. Oh, it's Isabel. Is it? Isabel Urado? Okay. Carried water from MAGA NIMBYs and opposed housing in wealthy areas. Shame. And much credit to the DSA endorsed candidates who opposed this motion. Thank you to these two, and a pleasant surprise coming from CD13 LA, who had previously opposed LA's big upzoning program applying in single-family areas. Wait, I'm so confused. Oppose this motion? Oh, so these guys voted yes on this motion, which is bad. The motion is good, so the vote yes is bad, but they opposed the motion, which is good because they opposed the... Okay. Holy shit. State zoning standards around train stations and major bus stops allow for multifamily housing with up to 7 stories. Bro, if you spend any time in Southern California and you go around, like all the apartment complexes are literally 5 stories. It's capped. Everything is 5 stories except for like downtown LA. It's so fucking stupid. Oh, and maybe in San Diego it might be a little bit in downtown.
It was one of the most requested.
W move by doing all this press public appearance because Ethan's a fucking idiot who lies about you being this public means all he says is lies. Otherwise, they'd never talk to you.
Why does he read his chat comments like that?
I mean, I don't do the W press because of Ethan. I don't think about Ethan Klein at all.
What would I don't even know what I would say for that.
What?
No.
He's not a person that occupies any kind of time in my mind, if we're being real.
Okay.
Governor, what do you make of people like Greg Abbott, who has gone on Fox News in recent days and said that California is the problem, not Texas, and that he and other Republicans are going to try to take legal action to strike it down, as Aaron just kind of alluded to in California?
Well, I thought there was some AI. I saw some, honestly, I thought, though, this is obviously fake. I mean, it's delusional. I mean, no situational awareness. I mean, it's shocking. completely delusional. Look in the mirror, sir. You're the one who initiated this. You coward. You coward. You couldn't stand up to the bully. You couldn't stand up to Donald Trump. You had to kiss his feet. You know, you couldn't stand up for our democracy. Couldn't stand up for principles. You had to do something that's unprecedented midterm redistricting, knowing he knew this was wrong. In fact, you can go back to some of the early reporting. He was initially hesitant, but he realized his political career was done, over. And that was more important to him than our enduring values, the best of the Roman Republic and Greek democracy, the rule of law, co-equal branches of government, were less important to him than his own political future. Popular sovereignty, less important to him than his own political future. So I don't even know where to get started. I saw some of his comments. They're ludicrous. And I'll remind him, what I'll remind everybody, if they don't move, if Republicans stand back, they have an off-ramp.
I'm sorry. That's not intentional, right? No.
Initiative, our efforts don't go forward. We're doing this only in response to what he's doing. So if he doesn't want us to move forward, he has some capacity to influence that, not just in his own state, but by making the case to other governors in other states that this is not the right thing to do, that we should all stand back, support nationalized, independent redistricting.
Man, we have a lot of like metaphors and turns of phrase that have to do with standing and movement in general. Jesus.
And we should let voters choose their representatives, not the other way around.
Governor.
Do you think that gamers will change their mind on the Trump shit? PS5 prices are up $50. It turns out Steam's adult content ban has been plotted for a year and is spearheaded by one of Project 2025's leading voices. Banning pornography and putting those who create and distribute it in jail is one of the goals in Project 2025. Damn. Poor gamers. Hassan Slop self-suck session.
God, I loved it. Loved the bubble bath. Here's the deal, Hassan. You're the only person. Like, I hate everybody that posts their workouts on the internet. I hate everybody that posts their outfits of the day. I fucking like yours every single day because you're so cute and so smart and so everything.
I do it for you specifically. So that's why I do it.
Oh my God, Mr. GQ. Pumps, go ahead and get it out of your system. Oh my God, I loved it. Loved the bubble.
Part 2? There was a part 2 to this?
I mean, he's so smart.
Oh, wait. This is funny. I think this was like after I had watched.
Damn, bro. I can't do it. I admire it. I wish I could watch shit about myself like this.
Off, but because I needed to stay on, if you've ever done one of these things, you need to stay on the software so that they can upload on their end. So I could hear them talking. I could literally hear them talking. But I wasn't like, I think they thought I was like gone.
Deeply attractive. He's so smart. He's so deeply attractive. He's so well spoken. I mean, I'm just looking at him the whole time thinking, you're like the full fucking package, dude.
The very first time Pumps met Hassan, we arrived at his house and she's like, oh my God, you're hot. And
I couldn't help it. It just came
right
out
of the gates, Mrs. Robinson. And then we hung out with Hassan at the DNC and she would just march right up to him. She'd go, just Hassan, you're just so handsome.
Yeah, and we'd get a picture and he'd be standing next to me. I'd be like, no. I want a full arm around what people do.
Oh, yeah, she made him.
She did. Yeah, I did. I mean, he's that cute.
I forgot that you did that.
Ever thought about writing a book, Too Grifter? No, I just don't have time for it.
I'm sorry.
I'm telling you right now. White women are the fedayeen. People forget, okay? Women do not hold up half the sky. Mao Zedong was right. They hold up 98% of the sky.
Okay. Jesus. What is this image? Just saw your vid on the IQ, the insurance question. Everyone hates insurance until it gets you discharged from involuntary inpatient at a psych hospital. How could insurance get you discharged from involuntary? I feel like if you're involuntarily inpatient, doesn't that mean you've like threatened to kill somebody or kill yourself?
I can't.
Wait, just kill his wife and go Drake, no? It's free.
Wait, no, I can't.
Wait, just kill his wife and go Drake, no? It's free. He can't push.
How is this a Hassan reference? Oh, because of Ela?
So Gavin Newsom.
Esports moment.
Good stuff. Oh no, he was out of range of the throw. There's the punish counter. He needed that. He needed that hit stun. Oh! What a way to steal it!
The charge, the CA on deck as well. Puck is confident that that's it. He's standing up. He's celebrating. It is going to be 3-2. Not yet. He has to play still.
Are you serious? You cannot make this up.
No, he got him to celebrate. Oh no!
There's the punish counter. He needed that. He needed that hit stun. Oh! What a way to steal it!
The charge, the CA on deck as well. Puck is confident that that's it. He's standing up. He's celebrating. It is going to be 3-2. Not yet. He has to play still.
Are you serious? You cannot make this up.
Oh my, so high. Somehow, some way, still takes the W. Pug standing up prematurely. Oh no!
Dog, you gotta finish your food. You gotta finish your plate.
I wasn't sure, man. I wasn't sure that it was gonna kill.
Bro, there was still crumbs on the...
Wait, the guy in the right one, right? Why does he look so sad? Or am I mixing this up?
Good stuff. Serious? You cannot
Yeah, wait, why is he...
make this up.
Oh my, so high! Somehow, some
Why does this guy look so...
way, still takes the W. Pug standing up.
Hold on. I get 3 of these. Hold on. Follow me. Okay, hold on. Tell me this guy doesn't look like the bad Chinese kid in the Jaden Smith Karate Chin, or hold on, Karate Kid movie, Jackie Chan. This, like the grown-up version. Are there better pictures of his face? Wait. Like the grown-up version. Absolutely.
Prematurely.
Wait for it. Wait for it.
Dog, you gotta finish your food. You gotta finish your plate.
Turn around again.
Finish.
Man, I wasn't sure that it was gonna kill.
Bro, there was still... You gotta finish, dog.
Oh!
A little bit.
Oh no!
A little bit. Just a little bit. His face is on the wall. Okay, but that face doesn't look like it as much. Key old moot clip. Okay. What do I caught up on memes?
You've done one of.
Do I care about
to
this?
Michigan to say Judea and Samaria. They responded, why would you change your but your movement consistently made problems for a campaign and contributed in small but real ways to Trump winning tragic results. The uncommitted movement wasn't a record attempt to create chaos in the party. It was a serious venture by Democratic Party operatives who were trying to throw a Hail Mary to get the Dems to realize how much sympathy they had lost. The Dem Party didn't care one bit. Yeah, they sent Bill Clinton to Michigan to say Judea and Samaria. They responded, why would you change your stances when that's what makes you money? What? Dude, how many people like me exist out there? What are you talking about? Does it never confuse you at all? Do you never actually look at the environment, the media landscape, and all of the people whose content you consume, and never think once to yourself that not a single one of them actually speak out on any number of different issues, even from a liberal perspective?
Where is this new cope coming from Hassan? This like weird version of like, why doesn't anybody else talk about these issues? Like, and then he points to a whole bunch of streamers that aren't like really political streamers. You've got Asmongold who's right wing, so of course he doesn't give a fuck. And you've got like XQC and Aiden Ross. And then who is he referring to there? Like, where is this weird pressure to speak out on the, like, who is he pressuring? Like, name some names, little bro. Like, who do you want to speak out on this? He tried calling out Aiden Ross, but Aiden Ross literally has like a whole compilation of him saying free Palestine. And then XQC literally responded to all three things, and he was like, yeah, Trump's fucked up or whatever. Like, who the fuck is he talking about?
And the only fucking voices that you hear from, for the most part, are incredibly reactionary right-wing voices. Does that not ever shock you at all? Do you not realize that there's a reason for that?
Damn, like, is he just totally throwing Denims and Frogan and Casey Tron and Mike from PA and Shonda Black and I don't know, all those other weirdo orbiters he has? Are those guys all just completely thrown under the bus? He doesn't mention any of them, or?
And that is because people are fucking terrified to speak out.
About what? People are terrified to say free Palestine?
This all literally stems from you are able to maintain editorial independence and be able to present your opinions to an increasingly larger audience and also gain financial success in the consequence, even if you're like a unique figure in this space. Okay? Why? Why do you think people are afraid to even speak out against Trump right now? If there's so much money to be made, why isn't Asmongold a leftist socialist grifter?
Because that's not his grift. He's on that right-wing MAGA train. Do you think the grift only goes in one direction?
Why isn't XQC a socialist grifter? If there's so much money to be made, these guys don't give a fuck about politics. Why aren't they grifting to the left? Have you not noticed that you keep coming back here for one reason? Don't get me wrong, said already a few times, I appreciate the awareness they bring. It seems like you don't, because you're saying I'm...
Okay.
On an odd...
Newsom has been absolutely infuriating the right.
Fuck Kyle Kulinski. Kyle Kulinski was actually... Hold on, wait. Let me confirm this, bro. Was he shitting on... Is this a real tweet? Contra fell off hard, huh? The fuck is this?
I've been shocked by how undemocratic the Democratic Party can be.
Oh boy.
Tell me, what do you mean by, I don't disagree with you necessarily, but what do you mean by that?
By putting their foot on the scales to get, make sure that Hillary Clinton comes out of the thing, or make sure that, that that they're listening to that anger.
Wait, we listened to this months ago. Why the fuck is this posted again then?
About the way that.
Okay, I don't care. Wait. Fuck it. We're watching this real quick because I'm curious.
Autumn evening in 1989, Tom McMahon noticed some unusual construction getting started in his Los Angeles neighborhood. As more and more trucks began showing up with bizarre power tools, test equipment, and tanks of liquid nitrogen, his curiosity got the better of him, and he had to take a look. He learned that a high-voltage underground transmission line had experienced a fault, costing the city tens of thousands of dollars per hour in lost capacity and downtime. Over the next few months, he got more acquainted with the project manager for the repair, and he shared all the fascinating details of what he learned in a series of messages on his company's mailing list. Those messages spread like wildfire across various bulletin boards, lists, and forums of the early internet.
Why do they email like hackers? Jesus.
I don't remember exactly how old I was when I came across this story, but I do know it was one of the very first times I realized how awesome infrastructure and engineering could be. I figured if it had such a big impact on me, that it's a story worth retelling, especially because there's a recent update at the end. Maybe it will inspire others to be more interested and engaged in their constructed environments like it did for me, which is basically my entire goal with these videos. I'm Grady, and this is Practical Engineering. In today's episode, we're discussing the Scattergood Olympic underground transmission line.
We watched the new Gamers Nexus documentary on GPU smuggling. I would have to like boot up Factorio again or some shit for that. These videos are like hours long, bro.
How do you get electricity from where it's generated to where it's used? That's the job of high voltage transmission lines. Electrical power is related to the product of voltage and current in a transmission line. If you increase the voltage of electricity, you need less current to deliver the same amount of power. So that's exactly what we do. Transformers at power plants boost the voltage before sending electricity on its way, usually in 3 separate lines called phases, reducing the current and thus minimizing energy wasted from the resistance of conductors. High voltages make electrical transmission more efficient, but they create a new set of challenges. High voltage electricity is not only extremely dangerous, but it also tends to...
I know all of this because of the autism games I play, of course. Any other electrical engineering experts in the chat?
Arc through the air, which is not a great insulator, to the other phases or grounded objects. The conventional solution is to string these lines overhead on towers. This keeps them high enough to avoid contact with trees and human activities, but the towers serve a second purpose. They keep enough distance between each line so that electrical arcs can't form between them. Unfortunately, stringing high voltage lines overhead isn't always feasible or popular with the local residents, especially in dense urban areas. That was true in the 1970s when engineers in LA were deciding how to expand their transmission system and deliver power from the Scattergood power plant to the Olympic substation near Santa Monica. So they tried something that was relatively new and innovative for the time. They ran the line underground. 3 230 kilovolt lines, one for each phase, would deliver enormous amounts of electricity over the approximately 10-mile or 16-kilometer distance in West Los Angeles, powering hundreds of thousands of homes and businesses. However, putting high voltage lines below...
Wait, am I 332 or whatever kilovolt? Is that actually like 330 like 1,000 volts? Is that the voltage of those lines? Jesus. That's crazy, chat.
The ground created a whole new set of challenges. When strung across towers, the conductors at this voltage each require around 10 feet or 3 meters of clearance to avoid arcs. The air is the insulator, doing the job of keeping electricity constrained within the conductors. So how do you take those 3 high voltage phases...
Explain what voltage is? Well, you see voltage is the difference of the number of electrons on both sides.
...and cram them into a single small pipe running underground? Well, you need a better insulator than just air. One of the more popular options of the time was to use high-pressure, fluid-filled cables. This design starts with installation of a steel pipe below the ground with access faults spaced along the way. Copper conductors are surrounded with many layers of paper insulation.
I think the most important takeaway for voltage is that voltage is the more insulated a particular thing is, the higher the voltage you need to bridge the gap or whatever. I couldn't give you a quantum mechanics explanation of why that is, but...
Next, a protective layer of wire, called skid wire, is spiraled around each one to protect the paper from damage and allow for easy sliding along the pipe during installation. The conductors are pulled through the steel pipe using massive winches and then spliced together at each vault. Once the steel pipe is fully welded closed, it's slowly filled with a non-conductive oil known as liquid dielectric. This oil impregnates the paper insulation around each conductor to create a highly insulative layer that prevents arcs from forming, even with the conductors sitting mere inches apart from one another and the surrounding steel pipe. At the same time, the oil works as a heatsink to carry away heat generated from losses in the conductors. It is critical that the oil completely saturates the paper insulation and fills every nook and cranny within the pipe, just like a whole...
Oh, we're not doing that argument again. What kills voltage or current? Both. Neither one can kill without the other being sufficiently high enough.
In the plastic insulation around an extension
cord. The voltage has to be high enough to overcome the resistance, otherwise it doesn't matter what your amperages or whatever. And then if the voltage is high enough, but there's no amperage behind it, then the current will be high enough to kill you. So
even a tiny bubble in the oil can create a place for arcs to form because of the extreme voltages. So the oil inside the pipe is pressurized, usually around 14 times normal atmospheric pressure or over 200 psi, to ensure that no bubbles can form. The rating of a transmission line, in other words, how much power it can deliver, is almost entirely based on temperature.
But a teacher says like water pressure in a pipe, voltage. Well, if the voltage is low enough, then absolutely nothing can get through, right? Voltage has to be, I don't know the explanation for it, but the voltage has to be high enough to overcome the resistance.
The rating of a transmission line, in other words, how much power it can deliver, is almost entirely based on temperature. All conductors, with rare exceptions, have some resistance to the flow of electric current, and that creates heat, which will eventually damage the conductors and insulation if it builds up. The more heat you can remove, the more power you can push through the line. That's a major benefit of pipe-type oil-filled cables. They're surrounded by a gigantic liquid heat sink that can be circulated to keep the temperature down and prevent hotspots from forming in the lines.
Damn.
At each end of the transmission line is a plant filled with pumps and tanks to pressurize and often to
40 minutes. 40-minute video, bro. Stop.
Circulate the dielectric oil in the pipe. This particular transmission line in LA circulated the oil in 6-hour cycles. At the end of each cycle, the pumps reverse to move the fluid in the opposite direction through the pipe. Some systems are different, but for the scattergood line, this pumping is a slow process. You're not trying to pump all the fluid from one end of the line to the other, but rather simply get it to move a short distance along the line to average out the temperatures and minimize the possibility of any single section from overheating. However, even at that slow speed, you can't just switch the flow direction in an instant. I have a video all about a phenomenon called fluid hammer, and you can check that out if you want to learn more after this, but I'll summarize here. Moving fluid has momentum, and rapidly changing its velocity can create dangerous spikes in pressure. Water hammer can be a problem in residential homes when taps or valves within washing machines close too quickly. You might hear a pipe knocking against the wall, or in worse cases, you might completely rupture a line. However, in large pipelines that can contain enormous volumes of fluid, reversing a pump can be the equivalent of slamming a freight train into a brick wall. To avoid spikes in pressure, which could damage equipment or rupture the pipe, the pumps at either end of the scattergood Olympic line would spend the last hour in the 6-hour cycle slowing the oil down, providing a smooth transition to flow in the opposite direction for the next cycle. Circulating the dielectric oil helps to keep the temperature within the pipe consistent along the line, but it can't control how that average temperature changes over time. Transmission lines don't deliver a constant current, rather the current depends on instantaneous electricity demand, which changes on a minute-by-minute basis depending on the devices and equipment being turned on or off. When demands fluctuate, the current in the transmission line changes, and so the amount of heat in the line increases or decreases accordingly. As you might know, many materials expand or contract with changes in temperature, and that's true for the copper conductors used in underground transmission lines. When these lines expand within the outer pipe, they often move and flex in a process called thermal mechanical bending, or TMB. If not carefully designed, these bends can become tighter than the minimum bending radius of the cable, exceeding the allowable stresses within the material. Over hundreds or thousands of cycles of TMB, the paper insulation around each conductor can begin to soften or tear, eventually leading to a dielectric breakdown. In other words, arcs and short circuits. TMD can also pull large diameter splices into narrower sections of the pipe, causing them to rub and abrade. That's what happened in 1989 to the scattergood Olympic line. But before the LA Department of Water and Power could repair the fault, first they had to find it. Locating a fault in an underground line is half art, half science, and there are many interesting types of equipment that can be used. They tried to use ground-penetrating radar along the line, but they couldn't identify the fault. They also tried time-domain reflectometry, a method of transmitting a waveform through the cable and measuring the reflections, but the results weren't conclusive. They also used a device called a thumper, which introduces impulses of high voltage into the cable. When this impulse reaches the fault, it causes an electrical arc, which can be heard as a thump above the ground, usually aided by a handheld detector with a microphone and digital filters. Going from one extreme in technology to the opposite, the crews used car batteries and voltmeters to take measurements of the conductor's resistance between tap points to precisely identify the location of the fault within Mr. McMahon's neighborhood. Once found, the challenge of repairing the faulted cable could begin. How do you fix an insulated conductor inside a steel pipe bathed in high-pressure oil? With liquid nitrogen, of course. Pumping all the oil out of the pipe before the repair wasn't feasible. It couldn't be stored and reused after the project because that process would introduce contaminants that would reduce the oil's insulative properties. They also couldn't dispose of it and replace it with new oil because the stuff's expensive and it would take a long time to get in such incredible quantity, potentially extending the very expensive downtime. Even more importantly, relieving the oil pressure from the rest of the pipe could allow gas bubbles to form inside the layers of paper insulation, potentially damaging them and creating new places for faults to form. The clever solution they used was to freeze the oil using liquid nitrogen, which is usually around -200C or -320F, creating solid plugs on either end of the section to be repaired. This allowed the rest of the pipe to remain under pressure. Losing these plugs would be a catastrophe, creating an eruption of high-pressure oil and spilling huge quantities of it into the environment. So the repair crew had liquid nitrogen companies on call across California as contingency to ensure that the oil could be kept frozen for the duration of the fix. Unfortunately, after taking x-rays along the entire length of the line, they realized that many of the cable splices were in danger of experiencing a similar fault due to thermomechanical bending. After coming to the conclusion that this wasn't going to be a quick fix, the Department of Water and Power decided to drain the entire line of oil and implement preventative measures.
So if you had a down power line between two towers, The process for that is probably like cutting the cable, turning it off on both ends, climbing up, and just stringing a new cable, right? It's probably infinitely easier than servicing, I guess, these underground lines. I didn't realize there was like this much shit going into it. Jesus.
While it was already down for repairs. Aluminum collars were installed at key locations along the pipe to constrain the thermal movement of the cable. This was done in a semi-clean environment with air handling and cleanliness requirements to prevent contaminants from finding their way into the pipe. After many months and tens of millions of dollars worth of downtime, the trucks and crews finally pulled out of Tom's neighborhood, and the underground transmission line was finally brought back online. There's an update to Tom's story that brings us to modern times. The Scattergood Olympic line's troubles didn't end with the work in 1989. LA's routine testing showed that the insulation was continuing to degrade, and outages on the line were significantly disrupting the reliability of their transmission network across the city. In 2008, the Department of Water and Power began developing a replacement project, this time using newer cable, insulated with polyethylene instead of high-pressure oil. After 10 years of planning, environmental permits, public meetings, design, and construction, the project was completed in 2018. The original transmission line is still in place and can be used as a backup if it's ever needed. As part of my research for this story, I spoke to Tom on the phone. He told me that shortly after his write-up spread across the early internet, it was sent to a teletype machine within one of the offices of the LA Department of Water and Power, providing some higher up within the organization a neatly printed version that may or may not be still hanging on a wall somewhere downtown. Huge thanks to Tom for taking the time all those years ago to share his enthusiasm for large-scale infrastructure. Thanks to Jamie Zawinski for preserving the story on his blog. And thank you for watching. Let me know what you think.
Thanks, dude. The fuck is this?
Will? I probably could kill him with sheer will.
Okay. I'm gonna show you how the god gets killed.
Oh shit, the window
You're not
kill.
gonna make the jump. If you make the jump, I will kill myself.
Bro, what is the first two shots?
You're not gonna make the jump. If you make the jump, I will kill myself.
1, 2. Oh, 3, 4. There we go.
Oh no, it's Bonuser!
What? That was better.
God.
Oh! They're so mad.
How does he do it, guy?
Oh my god. Okay. Kid attacks a teacher and gets put in a suplex by a police officer.
Hey, record that shit. Really bad.
Damn, this kid's taller than the police officer. Ooh. Uh-oh. Oh, no, wait, that's the teacher. I'm assuming that's the teacher. Whoa! Uh-oh. Bro, how are you gonna... Is this guy okay? Oh no, not the pants falling off. Uh-oh. Oh, what? Oh my god. Ass whipping with a studio audience. Jesus.
You mentioned you're working on the documents. When do you think the market can get its hands on written documentation
2 weeks, sir. 2 weeks.
on the deals with Japan, UK, Vietnam, Korea? Is that how long ago? How far away is that?
Couple weeks.
These are kind of weeks away for the Japan and Korea model. But
Ah.
the other models are set. I mean, you already have Vietnam has agreed to open its market. These countries have agreed to open their market. They bring down their tariffs. It's not that you're not going to find a big...
That's the trade deal? The trade deal is we're going to arbitrarily tariff you, and then you're going to tariff us back, and then we're going to agree to get rid of our tariffs. And that's the trade deal?
Long, 250-page trading agreement. It's very simple. Bring down your tariffs to zero.
Oh, so the trade deal was just nothing the whole time. Okay, cool. All right.
Open the market to American exporters so that we can finally sell our agriculture overseas, finally sell our seafood overseas, finally sell our beef overseas. I mean, our producers have Stockholm Syndrome.
You mentioned you're working on the document.
Okay, also, wait. Oh my god. I'm mortified. I'm worried I'm gonna get murdered by by like an Uber driver. Is anybody here drive for Uber and realize you're getting like way less tips over the past couple months? I think that I just realized the other day that I push 0 for the tips on Uber every time it pops up after. I just put 0 for the tips. But the reason why I do that is because I thought that I pre-tipped them, because I think when you do DoorDash, you put the tip that you want, but then after they've delivered your food, you can add like an extra tip. And I think for a long time, I just assumed in my mind that like when the Uber thing was like, oh, this is for extra tip, 0, I'm not extra tipping. But I think that was just for the only tip. So now I'm not sure how many like Uber drivers I've just been completely stiffing because I just assumed that was like the extra tip section. Oh my God. How bad is your rating? Well, I don't think you can change your rating after somebody's tipped, no? Because like on DoorDash, it's like add a tip, and that's when you're placing the order. But then after the order comes through, you can add an extra tip. Jesus. You have a passenger rating? Well, yeah, but the passenger rating isn't based on your tip, no? It's just based on... Because I don't think they can give you a rating after the tip. I think that's come before, because obviously they don't want you to fuck it. I think my rating is okay. It's 4.9. Which I think is fine. Oh my God. These motherfuckers are getting into car crashes. Earlier this morning, an Army MATV, mine-resistant ambush, protected armored vehicle was involved in a crash with a civilian vehicle on Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C. Why are these driving around? I'm sorry, do we have an IED problem in D.C.? Did he get T-boned? Jesus.
Even poor Kid Rock. No, I mean, even poor Kid Rock. Yeah, these guys, they've become a little precious, haven't they? These folks at Fox. They're like, oh, this is so unbecoming of a governor. Oh. And meanwhile, they sit there reading his tweets every single day. Are they that tonally out of touch? I mean, it's jaw-dropping how precious and concerned New York Post has gotten all of a sudden. How the Wall Street Journal head board is like, oh, no, we can't have this. I mean, what? I hope we're exposing it all. I hope we're exposing it all, and I hope we're entertaining some people. No, I mean, even poor Kid Rock. Yeah, these guys.
True.
Trump has been posting. He's been complaining. He has been talking about crime and homelessness, particularly the nation's capital.
The perils of webcasting from home, the moment you realize the toilet paper roll is in your shot and you have to adjust live on air.
Ever since he took office, not just this time, but before. But why is now the moment that made him take this action?
Because a guy named Big Balls got his ass beat.
To see you. I mean, look, Trump has been posting.
I still don't think there will be anything as fucking insane. Bro, the whole COVID Zoom time period was just fucking wild. Do you remember the, oh God, what was it? Oh, fuck. fuck? It was like wife pulls kid out of room, interview, Zoom. Oh, is this? This woman was fighting for her life.
And all the time, the question is, how do democracies respond to those scandals?
And what will it mean for the wider region? I think one of your children has just walked in. I mean, shifting sands in the region. Do you think
It's fucking nice. She's like, I want in on this shit.
Shifting sands.
Oh, this was pre-COVID. Oh, 8 years ago. Oh, damn.
In the region, do you think relations with the North may change?
I would be surprised if they do. Pardon me. Pardon me. My apologies.
What's this going to mean for the region?
My apologies. South Korea's policy choices on North Korea have been severely limited in the last 6 months to a year.
Also, Rittenhouse Zoom meeting. Wait, did we? How did I miss this? Does he just stay down there? He's like, fuck. Fuck. Last one.
Mr. Ponton, I believe you have a filter turned on in the video settings. You might want to
we're trying to. Can you hear me, Judge?
I can hear you. I think it's a filter.
It is, and I don't know how to remove it. I've got my assistant here. She's trying to, but I'm prepared to go forward with it. I'm here live. I'm not a cat.
Thanks for clarifying.
I can see that. I think if you click the up arrow next to this.
This guy's facial expressions.